Hi, I'm Nikki White with Live Boldly Ministries podcast. And today we have the privilege of talking with Trace Crago. Works for Economic Opportunity by Jannus, and he is a financial health and lending coach. And I don't even exactly know what that is, but uh, Trace, why don't you start us off by explaining what this company does and how it got started and why you decided to do that, what your role is. And I also kind of want you could mention something about demographics of what people are in need.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'll start off with my title. I recently just got promoted to a credit analyst. So at this point in time,
Ooh,
yeah, my my business card's a little bit old. But as credit analyst, I review loans for SBA and ORR business loans. I make sure that the applicants are prepared to go through the underwriting process, and then I perform the underwriting process for our loan committee. And then I also manage our loan portfolio and do the reporting for our various grantors and the SBA. But previously, as the business lending coach and uh, finance coach and business development specialist, we're kind of like the banker. We're the relationship manager for the client. So when we're their point of contact, if they have any problems, they're like, hey Trace, like I'm doing QuickBooks right now, and I'm pretty new to it, and I don't really understand why my accounts receivable is so high or so low, or maybe I'm not understanding how my inventory is being tracked. We can walk them through, different processes, maybe depending on their type of accounting or bookkeeping cycles, or the way that's structured based on the type of business and industry that they're in. And we help them navigate the realm of entrepreneurship for free. Instead of having to go and get a consultant for thousands of dollars, we strive to help them do it without any upfront cost for them. Um, and so now I'll talk about kind of our organization. So Janus is kind of is a parent company, is kind of the way it's structured, and shared services. So Janus has been around for 50 years. This is our 50-year anniversary this year. It's been known previously as Mountain States Group, so that's what a lot of people recognize it
okay.
as. Yeah,
Okay.
we're currently known as Janus. Yeah, they provide financial management, HR, IT, and like grant writing services to each of the 15 programs underneath Janus. And that allows each specific program to focus on their mission. We don't have to worry too much about the accounting or hiring or any of that stuff, because that's done for us by Janus. And we're able to focus on our specific mission. So our mission at EO, or Economic Opportunity by Janus, is to empower Idahoans to realize economic mobility. We try to do this through one-on-one coaching. Like I kind of mentioned, business owners, they'll come to us with a problem, or trying to accomplish something. They have a goal in mind, like, hey, I want to launch this business by this date, or I want to open this bakery by this date, or something like
Mm,
that. And we help them achieve that goal utilizing financials, operations planning, things like that.
mhm,
And then
mhm,
a lot of time it's related to getting a loan. So we help them with the loan process, because the SBA has like a really specific process to get
mhm.
federal loans. so um, so yeah, we do that, and we also provide other than lending. We have free educational classes to the community. We teach at veterans associations. We teach at some of our partner programs, like Agency for New Americans. We go to help the refugees kind of get used to the United States financial system and complexities that are different than where they're coming from, and prepare them for success here in the country. Um, and then
So good.
yeah, it's fantastic. And then we also offer credit building. So it's really hard for some people to get started. Like, you go to a bank and
Right.
you're like, hey, like, they're going to deny you right off the bat if you don't have a credit history, right? But it's like, how do you get a credit history if they don't give you that option?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, other people wonder that too, right?
exactly, yeah.
How to
So
get a
yeah,
credit history.
exactly. Yeah. So we offer a lot of credit building options. We teach credit as an asset, which is a class kind of structured on how credit is calculated, how to build credit over time, and what you need to do to, like, what kind of practices, what kind of habits should you build to help
Mm,
build credit on the sidelines, without having to put too much effort into it.
mm,
And then, if needed, we provide credit building loans too, and we help them through that process as well.
mm.
Um, so yeah. Would you like me to start on like how I got involved now at this point?
Yeah, why don't, yeah, I sure you can ask your own question. Yeah,
All right.
sure. Yeah, and how would you? I mean, get involved with that, and what made you decide to finally land there?
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'll still do my undergrad at Boise State in the finance program. And in a predictive analytics class, my professor came to me just one day after class and she's like, "Hey, Trace, what do you want to do after graduation here in a couple months?" And I really want to start my own nonprofit. I wanted to teach what I knew about finance to the broader
Mm,
public because financial literacy is really important and it's something that a typical American struggles with. So I wanted to provide those services. And she's like, "Well, hey, um, there's a nonprofit here in Boise that does that." And I'm like, "Oh, really? I mean, I've never heard of them." So that day after class, I went to the library and did a ton of research. I immediately booked meetings with the CEO and a couple of the directors at Jannus, and about a month and a half later, I there was a job opening, and I got the job. uh,
that's awesome. That's the way to do it. That's a good way to do it. Find a place that you really like, and even if it's not available immediately, but have the
exactly.
drive to go figure it out. Yeah. And if you were to tell someone how they could get involved, like nonprofits are, I mean, maybe some people don't quite understand sometimes what a nonprofit is
Hmm.
exactly. Why don't you start by kind of explaining what a nonprofit is, and then answer the question on how someone might get involved with it, if they were interested, other than someone like yourself that has a business background.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, as a nonprofit, unlike most lenders, the average lender is providing loans and fees to try to make some money. We're trying to make a profit for their stakeholders, their shareholders, whatever it may be. So for us, we're a mission driven. Like we still have like interest rates, we still have some fees, but they're lower than like a typical banks might be because we're not trying to make a profit. We're trying
Right,
to
right,
sustain our operations. We just wanted to
right.
stay alive. Basically, it's enough just to pay salaries, just to pay for our computers and things like that.
Mhm,
Um, and then yeah, to get involved, there's a lot of options to get involved. So we're heavily grant based through like various government programs and stuff like that. Like the
mhm,
SBA, they give us some money to perform our operations to provide SBA loans.
mhm.
But we have to follow those grants restrictions and regarding those grants. So sometimes they're like, hey, we only want to provide X amount of money, or it's only for certain things. So outside of those grants, it's really useful for us to have like not grant specific like donations from like the public or like organizations, because then we have flexibility with those funds to go out and do things that aren't strictly within the lines of our grants. So we can do additional services to the community. Um, it just gives us more flexibility to do so. Um, and marketing, like I mean, I went to school for this and I got a certificate and I took classes in nonprofit management. I never heard of this organization. As a nonprofit, we have pretty small marketing
I haven't heard
budgets.
of it either. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and we've been around for forever, right? We're huge. We're not like huge, but we're pretty large. Yeah, like marketing. So like getting the word out there, like just word of mouth marketing, like by you, or
Yeah.
like this right here. This is something
Right,
that's
right.
fantastic for us because I see it all the time, every day. Business owners are like, "Hey, I really want to start this business," and they put everything on a credit card, or they go out and like
Yeah.
get like a
Yeah.
same day
Yeah.
loan. And then it's like
Yeah.
like 30%
Yeah.
for a credit card. It can be
Yeah.
100% plus for
Yeah.
like a kind of like those quick loans. Um, and yeah, they're quick and they're instantaneous, but you're going to pay a ton in it, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not as
I think,
successful as you think, oh, sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay. I think people don't understand banking that much as a
Hmm.
whole. People just think, well, you have to have a bank. When Craig and I were first married, um, I got a job, and it was just by chance, at a credit union, the largest credit union in San Luis Obispo area in that whole county. And it was bigger than most of the banks. I think it was the largest financial institution in that. And I learned about the difference in a credit union and why it's more beneficial, and it does things for its members, and it doesn't charge fees for certain things. I learned all that. And when we moved to San Jose, and we stayed at Cesslock. But when we came to Idaho, we just went to HP's credit union. We haven't used a bank since. We've just always stayed at a credit union. I think some people don't even know why they're beneficial, or that there's anything like this open to them. Like you said,
Hmm.
you'd never heard of it. And some people don't really know what's open to them, and they need to do the legwork. They need to do the research to find out. I've done a little bit of work with Global and with a couple of other refugee agencies, World Vision or whatever, and a lot of refugees, we had done this in the training class. We had done this thing where it's like, okay, so if this person, someone came in and said, you have to leave, you have 10 minutes to leave. What are you going to take with you? Are you going to go track down your husband at work? Are you going to take one of the children that's with you? Are you going to take the pot of beans that's on the stove? Or, I mean, a jug of water? If you can only take one thing with you. And a lot of refugees, their families are torn apart and they're not able to take everyone with them when they go. And it's really tough. And it's not like they're just people that have never worked or anything. Some of them are doctors and lawyers, and they're just displaced kind of.
Yeah.
Um and so they need some guidance, and they don't have anything. And in order to have a job, you have to have a phone. How do you get the phone? And then you need transportation, you need to take English classes and all that. So I guess I would like to know, like, what is the demographics for your agency? Is it refugees, or what, just anybody, or what would you say is the main group of people that are involved?
Yeah. So for our program specifically, EO by Jannus, we're our guidelines are basically any Idahoan. So as long as
Right.
you're an Idaho resident, and you can prove that you're an Idaho resident, that's the main thing for us. We too tend to focus on individuals that historically lack access to financial education or certain financial products. So certain lower income individuals who might not get
Mhm.
as large of a loan, right? Like a bank, they're not super interested in loans under like $10,000, $50,000 because they can't make enough money for it to make sense for them to even care that much about it.
Mhm.
And the loans they do offer that are really small. Typically, they're fairly automated. So because of that automation, there's not a ton of like underwriting like what I do. So they have to charge a higher interest rate for that risk. So we end up, we kind of like focus on those, and then refugees as well. So within Jannus, we have separate programs. So Global
Okay.
Gardens is kind of
Okay.
like what you mentioned. So individuals who from refugees from like where they have like farming experience, we help them transition to farming here in Idaho. Global talent, that's like what you mentioned. If you're an accountant, if you're a lawyer, we helped a bunch of
Mhm.
pilots recently. If they have a skill, but they need to transfer that to America, we help that's a program that helps them with that. And then there's Agency for New Americans. It's kind of one of the premier like resettlement kind of agencies
Mhm.
here in the state of
Okay.
Idaho.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we kind of all partner together because we're on the same team.
That's
And
exactly. Yeah.
yep,
That's good. Help each other out, join forces and help
exactly.
each other out. Yeah. So what would be something that you would leave to us? I mean, Live Boldly Ministries has a lot to do with people stepping out of their comfort zone
Hmm.
to be purposeful each week, each month in the things that you do, right? And so what would be some guidance? I know you don't have much time today to talk to us,
Yeah.
but what would you leave us with this idea of they need to get their finances squared away, or what would be some guidance that you would leave with us?
Well, some guidance I would leave for you and any viewers watching would be to yeah, like do some research. And if you have any questions during that research, don't be afraid to reach out first. I mean, talking about financial concepts is sometimes really puts us on edge. It's not something a lot of people are comfortable with, and that's understandable, right? It's something that's very important, and it's something we hold really close to
Mhm.
ourselves.
Mhm.
But that being said, if you don't know, something, reaching out to somebody like us, like EO by Jannus or a similar organization that exists to help you with those things, that's the first thing I would say to do is reach out to somebody that can provide help for free. And if it's like super, super specific and super complicated, then it might make sense. We will help transfer you to somebody who's maybe an expert in whatever specific industry that might be, if it's like something really complicated. But for the most part, yeah, that's what we help for. And then for anybody who's interested in helping, we always love in-kind donations, like people volunteering their time or their expertise.
Mhm.
So we have a bunch of people from HP, like some IT professionals that came and they helped us with our data management and our processes. And we have one guy who helped us with business model canvas and help us redesign a business like model canvas business planning class to help people like learn
Mhm.
how to really build a good business plan. So
Mhm.
like that, like kind of like volunteering with us, that helps us a lot with
Mhm.
because we can
Oh,
only do so
awesome.
much with our small team.
Right. Right.
So things like that, and then obviously donations as well. We always appreciate
Right.
any donations
Exactly.
that can happen.
So why don't you tell us some ways to contact I guess those are a couple of different kinds of things, but
Mhm.
what would be the main contact point? And I'm assuming that once they did that, they'd be able to get to the different,
Oh yeah.
the volunteering or the donating or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So if you're just interested in something general at Jannus, you can contact Jannus Inc. At jannus.org at our website, or you can email us or call us as well. And if you wanted to contact our program specifically, you're just interested in the financial aspect of our like our program specifically, you can contact me or one of our associates, or you can just contact our general line at eojannus.org,
Okay.
our email or website as well. And all of our individual resources are there. If you wanted to contact our director or me or one of the business development specialists, all of our contact information is on the website as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I'm not that familiar with this company or with this type of thing, actually. But since I haven't worked in that field at all, but I'm really appreciative to listen to you and have you share what you do and how it could benefit others. And all of us know people, probably. Well, we should know people in different socioeconomic things. But we won't go off on that. But we should know people. But it would be helpful for us to know about this so that we can share this information with other people and that they can use you. And so yeah, and Craig will give your information when he puts up the YouTube podcast. And we thank you, Trace, for joining Live Boldly Ministries today. And we're really appreciative of you joining us.
Well, I appreciate being here. Thank you so much, Nikki.